going to now hear from a very strong person who is Blátnaid Gallagher. She is working in Galway, resuscitating and reviving the use of Irish wool for Irish production, especially through the Galway sheep. I'd like to invite her to give her talk. She is an amazing force and energy. So I'm sure for anybody that's thinking of having a coffee break, you may want to wake up and get Bla's presentation for you. Thank you, Bla.
Hello, everybody. So sit with me while I take you along a journey from farm to community to fashion and beyond. Following the short presentation, please pop some questions in the chat box, and I've left a few minutes at the end, so I'll hopefully be able to answer some of the questions. So I serve as a FLIARA ambassador, which is female innovation in agricultural and rural areas. I'm also a Farming for Nature ambassador, part of a growing movement of farmers placing biodiversity and ecological care at the heart of what they do. Recently, I was appointed onto the EU CAP Network Focus Group 57 on innovation and sustainable ways to strengthen the role of farmers in revitalising the European wool value chain. Our farm is a living expression of what we believe, that farming, biodiversity and community can thrive together in balance. We are also participating in Social Farming Ireland. Here we cherish the opportunity to share the farm with people who come with diverse backgrounds. Many are challenged mentally or physically. Others may have acquired life-changing injuries. Here they enjoy the fun and laughter and acres of richly diverse meadows and woodland. Having inherited the farm in 2015, we set about a mass restoration project, reviving the farm into more than 120 acres of thriving nature and conservation, a place to share the wonder of nature. Alongside our livestock enterprise, we maintain areas of bog and woodland for conservation, nurturing the habitats that make the west of Ireland so unique. One of the projects that I'm most proud of is an area that's dedicated to the establishment of a colony of the marsh petillery, a protected species whose presence roots of our landscape. There's a lovely little picture of one of the dogs that we have on the farm. Farming organically is not just about producing food and fibre, it's about contributing to the restoration of the ecosystems that sustain us. And here we get to see a little picture of Lassie. Nestled in our woodlands, we have the remains of a traditional Irish homestead, dating back over 400 years. It's humbling to witness the simplicity and lifestyle that once lived here. We farm with native breeds like the Connemara pony, and something which is very dear to my heart, which is the Galway sheep, because they are very well adapted to Ireland's climate and landscape. For them, we nourish native and ancient woodlands as part of a barrier from the elements. All our farm stock are outwintered under these all-weather shelters. We have a simple goal: to build a more sustainable, connected and respectful relationship between people, farming and the environment. Whether through wool, just give this a little click. Whether through wool, biodiversity or community action, we aim to help create a future where rural Ireland thrives naturally, economically and ecologically. The Galway is Ireland's native sheep breed. Her wool once ignited the iconic Iron sweater industry, earning worldwide recognition. Today, however, genuine Galway wool is rarely used, having been replaced by synthetic fibres and imported merino, which sadly is very often marketed as Irish. Known fondly as the white sheep, or the lovely white, she produces up to 5 kilos of bawnine wool each year. Bawnine meaning lovely white in Irish. Her wool was once very highly valued and her sheep farmers were very well paid for it. However, in the last few decades, it's becoming very apparent that her locally grown wool is largely absent from Irish knitwear, apparel, blankets, tweed, rugs, and even carpets. It has become clear that an important way to revive Irish wool is to create direct routes to market. She's a gentle and docile breed, and the Galway was once listed by the EU in the 1980s as a very endangered native breed. She's a lover of most plant varieties, including young Blátnaid. Despite her wool being the cornerstone to the now sector, in 2020, it was soul-destroying for me to discover our native Irish breed had practically been deleted, along with the opportunity for consumers to choose between imported wool and synthetics, being duped as Irish or the real thing. Many farmers with rare Galway wool were receiving as little as 20 per kilo. So little that some didn't even bother trying to sell it, as the cost of shearing and transporting the fleece sometimes could exceed up to €5 per animal. After completing my master's at the National University of Ireland, I was eager to explore the Irish wool marketplace. I soon discovered that many consumers actually believed they were purchasing beautiful garments, tweed, blankets and carpets made from Irish-grown wool. In reality, much of the merchandise sold in tourist shops, heritage sites, airports and cultural centres was actually produced using imported wool and synthetic materials. Meanwhile, our native breed had become endangered. The Irish wool marketplace is awash with products made from imported wool, and I knew something had to be done. In 2020, the Galway Wool Co-op was born. All over Ireland came together to pool their resources and harvest the wool at one central location, and also to support one another. Here's a picture of one of our members, Sean Kilkenny, whose hands you might recognise from some of our videos. If you get an opportunity to pop along the site, which is galwaywool.ie, you'll actually get to see more of the videos. And don't forget, we're on Instagram at the Galway Wool Co-op. And here you'll get to see a lot more videos about the sheep and the growers themselves. What started as a response to a market gap quickly became a collaborative movement, reconnecting growers, preserving the native breed, and giving Irish wool a renewed presence in the products it has historically inspired. The co-op not only helps farmers survive economically, but it gives Irish wool back its voice, pride, place in the global woolen sector. We started off applying for leader funding to develop a logo and brand and promotional materials. It was important to distinguish native Irish wool from imported wool, giving potential partners the opportunity to create with locally sourced fibre that stood apart in quality, traceability, and most importantly, in authenticity. Soon after, our voluntary-run community of growers and the work we were doing at the co-op began to gain recognition, earning two very important awards. Now, we won the RDS Sustainability Award, and internationally, the EU ARIA commendation for our contribution to social fabric of rural areas. We were joined by a community of rural leaders from Sweden, eager to learn more about our initiative. And we were also invited to share our story with the New Zealand ambassador to Ireland, Mr. Trevor Mallard. We were also joined, here we go. We had a visit from the UK entertainment channel, Channel 4. They visited us with two comedians on a road trip across Ireland who were eager to explore where wool actually comes from. And they even tried to learn to knit at that particular event. From the USA too, David visited with his team. David is the creator, producer, and host of the hit series From Scratch. The Irish media and TV were also keen to learn more about her work, and we featured in Seal na Firma, Ear to the Ground, Raised by the Village, and Love in the Country. Print media, established art and fashion magazines also shared our vision and ethos, featuring us in publications such as Selvage, The Glass, and Linda Cartwright's World Fibres. Our breakthrough into the world of farming and fashion came in 2025, when we participated in a first-of-its-kind two-day conference called Fashioning and Farming. We shared our story alongside headliners such as U2-based guitarist Adam Clayton, as well as fashion designers and journalists from all around the world. Many were shocked to discover the lack of Irish wool in the textile sector, making our work and the co-op's mission resonate even more deeply. In 2023, we were delighted to welcome artist in residence Michelle Hickey-Leger, whose passion for Irish materials deeply resonated with our mission. Frustrated by the scarcity of Irish wool for her fine art sculptures, Michelle reached out to collaborate with us, a partnership that soon blossomed into something quite extraordinary. We soon discovered that feedback from artists, creatives, and even some really well-known established blanket makers highlighted major issues with the yarn supplied by our first Irish yarn industry partner. It was brittle, stiff, dry, and even weak. Sorting consistent qualities was difficult, and often the yarn simply wasn't available in skein format. Astonished by such negative feedback for a fibre of extraordinary potential, Michelle secured private funding to explore whether processing methods during cleaning and spinning were actually affecting the finish of the yarn. Her instincts were right. After a pilot project with the National Fibre Company in Cornwall, the transformation Galway wool, worsted and handled with care, became smooth, strong, and even bouncy. After several decades of absence from the market, it was once again available to the public. Báinín was back. Artists, creators, and designers now had the opportunity to work with smooth, high-quality Irish wool that reflected its historic reputation and opened exciting possibilities for both traditional craft and temporary design. Michelle helped bring together 4 national exhibits, celebrating a vibrant collection of artists, creatives, and makers whose work with native Irish wool as their chosen medium. Through her vision, Irish wool was not only reclaimed as an artistic material, but reimagined as a symbol of heritage, resilience, and creativity. The collaborative force of these artisans continued to grow. Their achievements were showcased by Niamh O'Connell at Extant 2024, where Irish wool took its place among a global community of textile innovators and heritage craft practitioners. With little support or interest from many of the major players in the Irish textile landscape, who we canvassed on numerous occasions, these independent creators were gaining international success and recognition. Creative artists like Ellie Dunn were keen to showcase the warmth and resilience of native Irish strong wool from the Galway breed. Ellie created the first of its kind, 40 Shades of Green, and it's available from her website, elliedunnart.com. What started as a grassroots revival had now brought the spotlight onto the remarkable and untapped potential of locally grown Irish wool. Weaving of 100% Irish blankets had begun. Some are even woven on heritage looms. Awards soon followed. Rhyme Studio Art, an interior design studio based in New York City, and Galway native Karina Ryan Art both received acclaim when they participated in Showcase 23. Both exhibitors had showcased the beauty of glorious Galway. Initially, our first industry part and no market for yarn in colour. However, the artisan community responded by taking dyeing literally into their own hands. Using natural dyes, they began producing vibrant, sustainable shades that reflected both tradition and creativity. Rachel from 44 Clovers travelled from Maine, USA, to buy her first fleece of Galway wool. Not long after, we received incredible support and enthusiasm from Jennifer of the Sheep Walk Ranch in Texas. She also became our first independent wool inspector at Mehel 2024. And she shipped 500 kilos of washed wool, and it's now available in her Texas wool store. We had a visit from internationally renowned knit star Carol Feller, also another knit star and beanie guru, Willie Nilly Knit, who's based in Chicago, picked up on our mission and ran 2 live podcasts about the breed and the work of the co-op. Before long, carefully processed yarn from the pilot project reached the needles of some of Ireland's finest hand knitters, who relished the opportunity to once again create iconic iron and contemporary knits with glorious Galway wool. The momentum towards transparency and authenticity caught the attention of one of Ireland's brightest emerging designers, Conor O'Brien's studio, whose Phantom Thread collection debuted at Dublin International Fashion Week in 2025, featuring Galway wool as a statement of Irish identity and sustainability. But that's not where the story ends. Avoca Ireland, the internationally acclaimed design house and retailer of premium, also recognise the value of offering their customers true farm to fashion garments, soil to soul, made using locally grown native Irish Galway wool. Their new collaborative collection, Heritage and Fair Trade for Goers, will shine a light on Ireland's wool growing legacy and its enormous potential to bring real Irish wool back to the runway. And they did so this year at Ireland Fashion Week. What began as response evolved with the support of Avoca into a powerful collaborative movement, reconnecting growers, preserving our beautiful native breed, and giving Irish wool a renewed presence in the creative and commercial landscape. Co-op not only helped farmers survive economically, it gave Irish wool back its voice, pride, and rightful place in the global woolen sector. I was invited to join the EU CAP Net Focus Group 57 to explore the opportunity to add value at the farm gate. Here I will draw on some of my experience to date, with special focus on the significant portion of wool production that has shifted from traditional family farms to textile industry-owned farms in Asia. At a national level here in Ireland, some of the factors I've discovered affecting the farm gate price include that until Avoca's involvement, there has been very limited industry interest in innovative or exploratory design practices for strong wool. We have a misleading perception that yarn sourced in Ireland equals locally grown wool, which we know now is not the truth. We have an unregulated marketplace causing real consumer confusion. Sadly, we also have lack of processing infrastructure for local wool. We have inconsistent quality standards across farms, I have to admit, but we also have competition from cheaper imported wool dominating our Irish woolen market. And lastly, we need to look at the fact that we have very limited market and distribution channels for Irish grown wool. I thank Lee, Philip, the Love Foundation, and absolutely everyone who's given me an opportunity to talk about this subject here at such an international forum. You have been brilliant. I said before, mille buicas, with many thanks. Our story and the farmers that I represent from all over Ireland, the opportunity to showcase at a world stage. So thank you very much. I think I've left about 5 minutes. So if there are any questions about the work that we've done, or if there are any questions about anything that I've said in the presentation, I'd just maybe take Philip, if you want to look into the chat box, or if you want to look into the questions and answers and see is there anything pressing that people want answered.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have time for questions today, but
Okay.
to contact you, I'll send them your website and your contact, and they can, of course, reach out, especially if they want to work with Irish wool. They don't need to be from Ireland. They can be working anywhere.
No.
I look forward to them connecting to you. Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you. Okay.
See you soon.
Bye
So
bye.
for Ireland, we're going to